everyone! Today we will be continuing our learning journey in ratio land by determining if the ratios form a proportion. Well, first of all, we need to know, what does the word proportion even mean? So we know we're working with ratios or fractions, and proportions are just equations that show that two ratios are equivalent. So the word proportion is just a fancy way of saying that two ratios are equivalent. Okay, so it's just a fancy way of showing that two ratios are equivalent. And we know equivalent means equal. Okay, so we're going to be looking at ratios and determining, are they proportionate or are they equal? So, for example, let's start with a problem. And this problem is example A. And example A says that we have two ratios, 6:4 and 8:12. So when we compare these, we want to know, are these proportionate? Do they form a proportion or an equivalent ratio? Well, we're going to build on values. If you remember back a couple of lessons, we learned how to find the value of a ratio, and we found the value of a ratio by using division, right? So we went through and interpreted them by dividing, right? Using keep, change, flip. So we're going to be doing the same idea here, but we're going to divide this ratio, and see if their values are equivalent. Do they equal one another? So let's go ahead and start with 6:4. So we're going to take this ratio of 6:4, and we are going to do 6/4. We can reduce this by dividing by 2/2. And that will give us 3/2. So the value of this ratio here is 3/2 when we reduce it down, 3/2. Our next one is 8:12. So we're going to go ahead and look at 8:12. And again, we're going to divide 8:12 by the greatest common factor that goes into both of them, which would be 4. And if you don't know that, you can divide by 2 again, because they're both even, and then divide again. But we're going to divide. 8 divided by 4 is 2, and 12 divided by 4 is 3. So the value is 2/3. Here's where the proportionate part comes on. We found the value of the first one. We found the value of the second one. When we look at this, you can see that 3/2 is not equal to 2/3. So this value, 3/2, is not equal to 2/3. So these ones are not a proportion. They do not have equal outcomes or equal values. So to find a proportion, we're looking at the value of the ratio and seeing if it is equivalent. And in this case, they are not equivalent. Okay, let's try another one. Let's try example number 2. And example B says that we have 10:18 and 45:81. So we want to know, are these two ratios proportionate? Do they form an equivalent value? Do they have equivalent values? So let's start with the first one, 10 to 18. So we're going to look at 10 over 18, and we're going to divide it down. So let's divide 10 over 18. I know right away that 2 can go into both of those, so I'm just going to divide by 2, and that gives me 5 over 9. And 5 and 9 are both prime numbers, so the value of this ratio of this one is 5 over 9. So I've reduced it down to 5/9. My second ratio right here, 45 over 81. When I look at this, I see 9. I know that 9 can go into 81, and I know that 9 can go into 45. So I'm just going to take both of these, and I'm going to divide by 9. And that's going to give me 5 over 9, because 81 divided by 9 is 9, and 45 divided by 9 is 5. So when I just divide, I get 5/9. Now, when I look at these two values, 5/9 is equal to 5/9. So both of these reduce down to 5/9 as their value. So these ones are a proportion. So this one is, yes, these are a proportion. And they're a proportion because 5/9 is equal to 5/9. So 5/9 is equal to 5/9. Up here, this didn't work because 3/2 was not equal to 2/3. They equaled different things. So the value of the ratio just has to be equal. Okay? All right, let's do one more example before we do our try-its. So we're going to go for example C here. Okay, example C that we're going to look at says that I have the ratio of 10 to 40 and the ratio of 3 to 12. And I want to know, are these a proportion? Do they form a proportion? So the way I'm going to look to see if they form a proportion is first by reducing. So I'm going to start with 10/40. I'm going to make a fraction of 10 over 40. I'm going to divide by 10 maybe, because I know 10 can go into both of those. Why does that look like an H? Okay, 10 divided by 10 is 1, and 40 divided by 10 is 4. So the value is 1/4. Okay, now we're going to do the second one. I have 3 over 12. I know that 3 can go into 3 and 3 can go into 12. So let's try that. So divide by 3 over 3. That equals 1 over 4. So yes, these are equivalent. Their values are equivalent. So yes, again, this one is a proportion, because 1/4 is equal to 1/4. They both are equal. Okay, go ahead and hit pause right now so that you can finish writing this out. And then when you're ready, turn the page for your try-its. We're going to do 2 try-its. Okay, so when you're ready, go ahead and turn the page. And we will work on our try-its here. All right. So on our try-its, you are going to determine if they are a proportion or not. So try-it number 1, I want you to compare the value of 1 to 2 and 5 to 10. Does this make a proportion? And number 2, this ratio here of 4 to 6 and 18 to 24. do these create a proportion? So go ahead and hit pause right now so you don't hear me solving, and then when you're ready, come on back and hit play. So first of all, 1/2 is equal to 1/2. That is the value. That one's done. It can't be simplified anymore. 5 over 10 though, 5 over 10 we can divide by 5 over 5, and that equals 1/2. So the value of these two is 1/2. So yes, these are a proportion. These ones are a proportion because they are equivalent. Their values are equal. Okay, let's do the next one. 4 over 6. Let's see what we can reduce this down by. I'm going to divide by 2 over 2 because I know 2 can go into both of these. 4 divided by 2 is 2. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So 2/3. 18 to 24. So we're going to look at 18 over 24. I know that 2 goes into both of these, so let's try 2 and see what happens. We get 9 over 12. Well, 9 over 12 can be reduced by 3, right? 3 can go into both of those, so let's do 3 over 3. And that equals 3 over 4. Well, that's done. 3 over 4. These are not proportional. And these ones are not proportional because 2/3 does not equal 3/4. They are two different fractions. So because they're not equal, they do not form a proportion. Up here, this one was yes because 1/2 is equal to 1/2. Okay, it's your turn now to answer your essential question. How did you do on these? How did you do on try it 1 and try it 2? How did you do? Go ahead and answer your essential question. How do we determine if the ratios form a proportion? And then put your level of understanding out to the side. Where are you at with your learning? Put it out to the side. When you're ready, you can either come on back to the Google Meet and ask for help, or you can go on and do your practice work. As always, I appreciate all of your hard work and effort, and make it a great day.